Okay, welcome to the September 8th meeting of the Communications Advisory Committee.
9th.
Let's go around.
September 9th.
It's actually the 8th.
It is the 8th?
Yeah.
It
Oh,
is the
okay,
8th.
okay.
Last time I checked, it was the 8th.
All right, well, I stand corrected. I
Okay.
stand corrected.
Anyway, let's go around the room and take attendance.
Herb Moyer.
Molly Cowan.
David Kilburn.
Bob Glowacki.
And Martha McEntee. So we have a quorum. Everybody's here. The first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from Monday, June 9th. These are minutes that were prepared by the recording secretary, and they were posted on the website. Did everyone have a chance to take a look at them?
Yes.
Any comments, questions, input at all? There may be a few little technical glitches that I can correct if everyone agrees with Pam. A few little typos and grammatical things.
I found no substantial, there was nothing substantial in there. I figured
I
that
didn't see anything substantial either.
somebody else would clean up the,
Anybody, Bob, do you have anything that you have? Molly? No? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes with technical changes corrected?
I move that we approve the minutes as written with minor technical changes.
Okay, a second?
I wasn't there, so I can't
I'll
do
second.
anything.
Okay, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Abstained.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay, next. Bob, do you have a report for us?
Nothing really formal, just, we continue to get good, feedback about our programs and newsletters. My staff did a really good job. I was, out for, before last week for 2 weeks. And they had their longest report ever. They did like over 30 minutes for their show, so.
They were clearly having fun that
Oh,
week.
for sure, yeah. When I'm not in the office, more fun, right?
Watching cans rolling down the steps and down the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't know how they did that in very few takes apparently, so. But yeah, so we maybe have anywhere from like 6 to 9 ideas for videos, and more than half of them fall through, or like, scheduling stuff doesn't work out. Not everything worked out, so they ended up with like this monster of a report with a bunch of segments. So it was great that all the town departments were like eager to work with us to get the videos done, which helped, and then they came up with some other video ideas on their own, which was good. So yeah, it's really nice hearing the feedback. Even just walking over here, some random guy was like, "Hey, TV star," and I was like, "Do I know this person?"
That's so sweet.
And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And he's like, "Oh yeah, like just keep doing the great programs or something." I was like, "Oh, thank you, appreciate it."
And that was a long video, and I watched all of it.
Great.
It was engaging.
Yeah, I wanted to give you guys a little peek at the behind the scenes, like what we see afterwards. Like this is our YouTube channel, so this is that video. So you can see we got like 73 views, which is pretty good for a report.
Like
313 more than usual.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because most of our videos are getting like 10 to 5 or something. A lot of the videos we upload are just each segment from the report, so maybe people have already seen it. 3 people subscribe just from watching it. But what I really like down here is this is the audience retention.
Wow.
So like this is really typical for YouTube videos. Like after the first minute, like half of the people are gone.
But they held on.
But you can see is like around like 35-40% kind of 30 watch the entire thing. So that's really good. And then
30 minutes.
I forget what we had for the last video there. Oh, the Make-A-Wish video with the fire department. They helped make a kid's wish come true, so that you can see it. Like people skip ahead and decide to watch that one. So
or the other thing that happens is people will post, "Oh, go look at this video starting at this point."
exactly, yeah. So you can kind of we can see those jumps and where they dip down, and we kind of look at this together as staff over there and see like, well, which videos are
Which
maybe not
videos are
worth
working,
it,
yeah.
and which ones are really good, and this kind of helps. So we were looking at all these kind of statistics to see,
I love that analytic thing.
which is nice. So, and then the other thing I like to look at in the back end, I think it's here. So this is our subscriber count. So if we look at lifetime, it's pretty interesting to see. You know, we weren't really using YouTube until about 2016, and we had 15 subscribers. I started here in September of 2016 or something like that, October, and we've had a really steady growth. So I think if we continue this, we're on a really good track to reach more and more people. So I wish I could drill down to the stats and see like how many subscribers are like from Exeter, because that would be really nice to see. But
Also, how many subscribers are regularly watching?
yeah. So there's a lot of good stats on here. We're gonna continue to try to look at these and see kind of what we get from here. And so this is like
there we go.
average watch behavior. So casual viewers, regular viewers. A lot of our stuff is new viewers, which is interesting to see that like it's reaching new people every time.
That's so interesting.
So you can kind of pull up all this stuff and learn a lot. You can see like this is why we released the report. It seems like most people are actually checking Friday evening now. Tuesday evening there seems to be a big more concentration, but there was a time where like the heaviest watch time was like right when the report came out at noon. So maybe people are just watching a bit later now, because you can see this is actually Friday at 1, and then it drops down a bit. So a lot of people are watching right when it comes out, because we send it out in the email newsletter at 12.
Bob, this isn't your analytical tool, this is from YouTube.
This is from YouTube, yeah.
That's a fantastic.
So yeah, there's just a lot of neat stuff in here, and it the thing we just want to do is reach even more people. So it's kind of seeing how can we increase this. But 2,000 was a big milestone we hit earlier this year. So I'd love to be at like 4,000 or 5,000 sometime.
Well,
but
the population of Exeter is 16,000 people, so there's your target.
yeah, I can get every baby to have a YouTube channel and subscribe to us.
We'll filter it a little bit.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because here we were with a summer afternoon, and you had all those views on a Friday before a weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people, and that's why I wanted to send it at noon, because I think a lot of people are at their desks. They're maybe looking for an excuse to not do anything.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And it's a good way to get informed about what's going on the weekend or what just happened this week. We do send it also to all the town staff, so they can watch it as well and be aware of.
Oh, that's why town productivity drops off on Friday.
Could be.
All right.
Everyone's watching the report. So, and I can look at tie this to the MailChimp stuff and see who is clicking
Clicking through from
YouTube or clicking through from other places. This sort of gives me a little bit of that. Like if I go to the specific videos. This was the previous report, so. But yeah, we usually flatline around under 500 views. But each
500 views is still solid.
Yeah, I mean, and compared to other town YouTube accounts, this is really good.
Yeah.
What I like about this too is we can actually say we had this many views on the TV channel. We're never gonna know how many people were watching because Comcast won't give us those figures. But this kind of says where are people getting from. Most people came from external, which might be, these two might be MailChimp. I'm not 100% sure which one's which. YouTube recommendations, it's just getting recommended to people on their homepage, and you can see the different places, and yeah, you can see when it dips off, what video did we start doing. So it was right when we get to summarize the budget process.
Yeah, that'll put all of us to
And
sleep.
then right when that's over, it bounces right back up again.
That's hilarious.
So you can see what
So
people don't care about, and that's what usually what we've done. Our strategy is we have a really strong video at the front end, and hope that people will stick through to the end, because a lot of people like me are probably snacking and scrolling on their phone while they're watching these videos. So I'm not gonna move to skip on the remote. So. They'll watch the whole thing. So.
And I'm stating the obvious, but I'm going to do it. Making sure that the budget committee meeting is in there is still important, because that's a tool for other people to say, oh, Your question was answered at
Yeah.
4 minute and 52nd in Exeter TV.
And what we do too is like, so all this will come out on the Friday, and then the following next 2 weeks we publish every video by itself
Oh, okay.
on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, so it can be
Okay.
like linked
So
to
it's
by
just
itself.
this video. Okay.
Yeah. So like, you know, but usually if people saw the whole report, they probably aren't going to go and rewatch the shorter videos unless it was something they like.
Well, like the
We're really
can running
attached to
down
or
the
something.
steps, that was really cool.
Yeah, some funny things or something. So, but yeah, just one of the tools I kind of wanted to give you guys a little peek on what we do, especially the weeks following the report. We kind of go back in here and dissect everything. We also, you know, schedule everything out, so there's a video dropping almost every day if we have that many videos. So you'll see a lot of UFO videos coming out over the next every once a week for those ones. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff there.
That is so interesting. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, no problem. The other stuff I just wanted to mention briefly was, you know, I submitted our budgets for the TV and the media communications division. Not really proposing any changes for next year, so it's kind of what we talked about before. The only new thing I added was hopefully they'll approve. It's a service for like link tracking and also landing pages. So then we could, in addition to data like this, we could start putting like the report into, you know, maybe 10 different links, and one link
See
is on
which
a
one.
flyer, one link's here, so you can see who's getting it. The other thing I like about all those services is they have, let's see, I don't know if I can get it when I'm not signed in here. You guys have probably seen
Subscribe it, yeah.
in a social media, like on an Instagram account, in the bio, there's a link. Most like companies or influencers have like a link in bio type thing. So you click that link and then you see pictures and titles for the related content. That's like a goal of mine. All the town pages should probably have that, instead of just having a link to the town website. That way, you know, if Parks and Rec posts about an event that they're hosting or a program, the link to register will be right there, so people don't have to search for it.
And whatever we can do to reduce the amount of searching on the town website required is good.
Yeah, so it kind of just further, instead of just saying, oh, it's back, it's, you know, visit the
find
town
the
website
website,
or whatever,
yeah.
well, and then you get lost if it's not on the homepage, so.
How much
we-
does this cost?
It's like $350 a year, it's really small, and then if that was like successful, then you could do a bunch more other stuff.
Oh, no, you don't have to convince me. And do you fall under general government? I think so.
For the media communication side, yes, but
Yeah.
not on the TV side.
Okay, well, I'm on the general government budget recommendation subcommittee, so we will be having this conversation
Yeah.
again. Just to sort of set the stage, is like, during the kickoff meeting, it was made clear by a variety of people that due to the sensitivities from last year and assessments, that getting any new money approved is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
I don't want to take this too off course, but it will be difficult but not impossible, and some things are important, and some things help drive revenue. And if we are promoting the town of Exeter as being a destination for tourism, for living, for doing business via Exeter TV and the town website, then that $350 a year may drive some unknown amount of new tax revenue for the town. I have no way of connecting $350 to any amount of tax revenue, but I think it's a relatively easy case to make. So when you are presenting, that's one of the things I'm trying to encourage everybody, not just you, is like, if you're trying to say, I need this money, have some way of saying, the reason that we need this money is to improve the quality of life in Exeter, and it will have this impact on taxes, positive, negative.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, so that was the only new thing, because I think it's a small little thing. I think we're gonna try to, you know, spend out the other lines that maybe it was hard to in the past, such as like the advertising and stuff, because we just didn't I didn't have the time to do a bunch, so you'll see, I don't know if you're on Facebook, you may have seen like ads from Exeter TV. We did one on the Public Works Facebook page too, just boosting posts, so that even if you weren't following the page, it would show up. And that drove a little bit of clicks. I'm still waiting to hear back from Public Works. We did it for the hazardous waste collection day.
Yep.
And we had the link go right to the registration page, not even the town website. So hopefully that it would like directly translate to people registering. And I could see how many people clicked it, but I couldn't see how many people registered because that's like on a different system. So we have like a small budget for that. And if that proves to be successful, maybe in future years, we'll expand that a bit. But kind of just, using the tools we have more, and that's kind of the narrative for our budgets next year is just doubling down on what we've been doing and keeping as you saw, the trajectories going up. So it's pretty much all I had.
Any other questions for Bob? Any suggestions for future subjects for the newsletter?
There are all sorts of possible things. Most of them we've covered. One of the things that keeps coming up when I'm talking with pretty much anybody, but either out in public or in the town, is how do we reach more people? And so if the newsletter had we know this is reaching you, you're reading it. How do we reach the people that you know that aren't reading this? And I'm not talking about a formal survey, but how do we do a better job of understanding how to go reach more people?
A lot of it is algorithms, and when you are good at catching a trend of, like a TikTok, which is really tricky. Like all of those things make it really hard for us to reach the exact people that you're talking about.
You have to be really like reactive and fast.
I will agree. I will absolutely agree with both of you, and I will also disagree with both of you. Because if somebody's not using Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, then the algorithmic behavior doesn't matter in the slightest. How do we reach the people that are not on the platforms that we're using? If they're not reading email, they're not getting your newsletter.
Yeah, that's where I think like one interest I have is us attending more events in person, and then also just stuff like posters and flyers around town that physical stuff.
I very much agree with going out and meeting people in person, and I raised this with the select board before, and their answer was generally, they're very busy people, I get it. It's like, oh, we go to Riverwoods twice a year. It's like, okay.
Well, that wasn't the only, I mean, it's.
I could take half an hour and explain all the things that the select board does. I was using that as an example.
Sure, understood. But I also think like we have to be reasonable with what we can ask for, because there is only a certain amount of staff that we have and only a certain amount of like.
I'm not trying to attack the select board or anything, and I absolutely agree with you, and I was trying to use that as an example to go support something else, is that there are other people that are not town resources that can go out and represent the town and drive engagement.
Well, Amanda Kelly is a very good example of that.
Amanda Kelly's a good example. I'm a good example of it.
Yeah, so if you want to stand at a table and get you subscribe to the newsletter, I'm happy to give you a poster.
I know that if I want to talk to you, all I have to do is go to Anna's, and there you are.
And the number of people that I have talked to at Ennis, and I've said, you should be on this committee, and there was a walk bike committee that just did that at the Exeter Library the other day.
What committee?
Walk bike. It's not a town committee. It's a bunch of citizens who are saying we have an issue here. And 2 of the 4 people, I was invited because of sitting at Ennis, and 2 of the other people that came were there because I was at Ennis and I said, you should go to this thing. So the town is very, very busy. And one of the things I'm trying to do is find opportunities for people who are not town employees to go promote the town. And
because we definitely have the materials. Like we have a big poster with QR code and the link for people to go or just the name of the report on it. We put that at the elections before, and there's a lot
But
of,
the
yeah.
people who
there's-
aren't reading the newsletter are also not going to the election.
Yeah, because it might, and that's we've been really targeting like town events, like like we almost went to National Night Out, but just staffing stuff didn't work. Hoping to reach the people who were maybe going to that, but then they may be already in tune to what the town is doing. So what other events? Like one year I went to Teams Festival and just stood there for the whole day, and most people did not know we existed. So it was just good letting them know. To translate to many people subscribing, I think one little kid was like, "Ooh, I'll subscribe with my YouTube channel," but that was a win for So yeah, I mean, if you guys know of other events or things like that,
We've got the Tuesday Seniors Walking Group that now can use the PEA gym, which, Greg started. I mean, the Parks and Rec programs are amazing. I mean, I just signed up for the first time for something, which I never ever thought I would take advantage of the senior programs there. And people are like really excited about what he's doing. And there are people who never thought they would join things are doing it.
And those opportunities where you're out there doing something social
Right.
are also opportunities for people not as represented in the town to say, hey, there's this committee that is actually interested in promoting and helping develop more opportunities such as.
I know we should think about it as like an influencer program, like a in
who
town.
are Exeter's influencers.
Right, who are Exeter's influencers?
So there's a woman who lives, I'm not going to name names intentionally, who lives with her husband and small child out near the dinosaur park, and she's one of the people that got into the walk bike, whatever you want to call this. And she said, how else can I help? It's like, I don't have children, I don't live in town, I don't care about the same things you care about. What you can do is go out to these various meetings and go back to your group of mothers or whatever and get them excited about whatever it is. And I want her to be an influencer for her demographic. And so with some intentionality, every time I find somebody in a different demographic, I'm trying to get them excited about one thing, come to this, and then go back to your demographic and represent it. And calling an influencer program, that works for me.
I don't know that we should call it it, but I understand what you're saying, and I also I don't mean to get defensive about what but it's like we're all volunteers, and so it strikes me as like it's very myopic.
And it's an interesting thing as a staff person seeing, because I know like in other towns where there aren't staff, it is all the volunteers. Like when I was on the Concom in Brentwood, like we had people doing the easements, but they changed it so like they would do all the easement monitoring, the volunteers themselves, to save money, and they do their newsletter themselves. So it's using staff when you need to, and if you have members of the community who want to step up and do the things, that's great. I think the town would be happy to take that help.
So I have a new business item which addresses that, so I'll just hold off until we get there.
So how are we gonna proceed with this? It's an idea, now what are we gonna do with it?
Well, I think in order to make it really easy, you have to like constantly communicate to people that you want to be posting stuff, and you have to package stuff in a way that is accessible and not work for anybody to do anything. So it's like, here's the post, here's the things that maybe you're interested in, here's how you can partner, here's how you can get the word out. But it takes a lot of outreach from staff, which is again the problem, like if we're putting another program on people. And so I think one of the things that we've really struggled with is we can't, we barely have enough volunteers to run our committees now. But what could it look like to say, like, here's an actual way to have a very low lift engagement that could potentially be fruitful. And so I think your method of, asking people to talk about the committees or use their own platforms is really good. I think we could, Bob, you could, take a look at who's posting about the town a lot. Mm-hmm. And like, sort of like power map the influencers of Exeter.
No, I agree that the language may not be optimal, but
Community leaders,
the
that's
intent,
how I
I
would
mean,
say it.
and I'll use Paul Royal as an example. He's divisive, but he is somebody who's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of people listen to him and a lot of people don't listen to him. But there are other people like that who are out there and reaching out to them and saying, hey, look, if you care so much about this thing, get involved. There are people out there that dislike me intensely, and I get it. But at least when they dislike me intently, and they come up to me and say, I really don't like what you said, I've at least got somebody engaged. And it's like, okay, if you don't like what I'm saying, go get on a committee, go vote. I think of every single one of those things as being an opportunity to encourage somebody to get on the committee, show up for a select board meeting, or go vote.
Okay. Herb, got anything to say about all this?
I'm still thinking.
You've been around for a long time, I
I
thought you
have,
might.
yeah. But I'm not working at 100%.
Okay.
I'll have a think of the people I see on, social media. The tricky thing I see is there's a lot of, like, I don't know, they're trying to promote Exeter, but they're not people. They're all these other accounts that are out there. Like Bandstand, Exeter Bandstand, there's all these social media accounts and, who's behind them, but they seem to already be doing that organically, like they're resharing and reposting stuff from town departments and kind of doing what we do on the TV station, but they can do it more freely because they're not town staff.
Right.
But I thought what David was talking about was exactly the opposite, who wasn't on social media.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah.
Right.
We have to do everything we can.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what's running through my head are things like when that seniors walking group, the Tuesday walking group at PEA, the quilters, there's this huge community of quilters, there's a community of knitters.
There's a pinnacle group.
There we go. So you're going to go to the walking group and talk about the communications committee.
Well,
That's the plan.
I'm not going to the walking group, but there's a huge number of
Mhm.
people who are in that
Do
walking
do
group.
you know people in the walking group?
No, I don't, but
Yeah.
I know of the walking group.
Okay.
What's interesting is like that one, for example, those might be people who are already engaged with how the town works because you have to register for that on the Parks and Rec website and everything, and so they know what's going
No, what
on.
caught my attention with that was that it was an example of the town and the academy working together,
Yeah.
which is
And they're
less
newsletters for
common than
We already made a video about it.
less
So
common
we
than
covered
it
it.
should be,
Yeah.
right? I mean, what's so odd is that I was talking to a friend of mine from New York who was saying, oh, you must have so much to do because of Phillips Exeter, and I do go to the concerts once in a while and everything, but I said, well, actually, the communities are really quite separate here, and I have a lot of friends who worked at the academy, but there's a disconnect
By design.
that is unfortunate, I think.
Yeah.
So Riverwoods is similar. I mean, both of those are very insular communities.
Right.
And Riverwoods, so odd observation, this may even be a newsletter article. When the state put the new side spaces on
sidewalks.
111, I am watching people from Riverwoods bicycling into town now. And I've been walking that road for 10 years now. That is the first time I've had to move over because people from Riverwoods. No, I'm thrilled.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely thrilled. And this gets to the whole walk bike thing, which is a thing. But
yeah.
we have these communities. There's also like Ray Farm, for example. There are other communities out there. And if we can find people in those communities that can represent the town to those communities, and I'm not going to tell them how to represent the town, but anything that gets some of those people in those communities to come to meetings, to watch Exeter TV, and my biggest thing is for people to come vote. If you don't like the way the town's spending money, go vote.
Come vote, right. Another thing that has occurred to me is we have new leadership at the library, and we might be able to do more reach out to the teen community, especially since Julia has been very involved with the teens there and that demographic, and get them maybe do a program on the bi-weekly newsletter that relates to high school age kids.
If you do
We plan
that,
on interviewing some of them for
If you-
a story about one of their programs they do.
if you do
I'm
that,
sorry, what'd you say?
We're hopefully doing a story on them, so we'll be
Yeah.
speaking like with the teens
That's great.
about
That's
anime.
really exciting. Great.
Don't you,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be great?
if YMCA teaches a teen mental health first aid course. I took it outside of that, so I took the longer version of it. I posted about it because it's such a great course. I got a lot of people in the Exeter community saying this is a great course, I also took it. Promoting that course, I would love it if somebody would promote that course to the teens, to know, so the teens know that there are people in the community who are not necessarily their parents or their teacher or whoever that have been trained in this, and it's not designed to have people talking down or anything like that. It's a very, very good course. And getting the message out to particularly teens at risk that the community is very concerned about their welfare and will engage with them in whatever way is appropriate for them and not on our terms, on their terms.
Okay.
And I can introduce you to the instructor, all that sort of stuff, but I was thrilled at the number of people who said, oh, I've taken the course.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Okey doke. Anything else on this topic? Which I guess was
Communications.
communications plan and ideas for communications initiatives. That was sort of all together,
That's right.
right? Okay. Okay, well, let's move on to other business, because David said he had some ideas under other business.
So communication comes in a variety of forms. There's email, there's text, there's video, there's images. One of the challenges facing Exeter and Portsmouth and everybody else is housing. You know, what housing do we have? What housing do we need? Who's got access to it? Things like that. So I tried to figure out what housing is in Exeter. How many condos do we have? How many townhomes? How many multifamily dwellings? How many single-family dwellings? All that sort of stuff. So I went to the town assessor's office, and I've got plat maps. I've got all that sort of stuff. And I said, do you have all this data in an easily digested form, like an Excel spreadsheet? They don't. It's just this one high-level report they submit to the state every year. So I also went to the planning department. I said, do you have any sort of standardized reporting in terms of what's getting improved, so I know what will be coming online? And they don't have anything. So I went to the housing committee to express this, and Melissa was there. And I actually wrote up an application, a web app, that analyzes multiple listing services, so real estate data showing what's out there. MLS data is bad, but it's a start. And I said, I really want to get this data from the town. It's like, I know the town's got to have it in some form. Melissa said she would take it on, and I also met with Melissa in private prior to that. And again, I know everybody's so very, very busy. Let me just finish my thought, and then all I was asking Melissa wasn't for her to do it, it's like to introduce me to the GIS person in town,
Melissa,
assistant town manager,
oh, okay, and GIS is,
geographical information services, because the GIS person in town may have sources of data that answer my question. It may already be in the form I need it. So and this is just an example of, there's a lot of information the town has where data analysts such as myself, and I keep running into other people that are good at data analysis, could use to help the town, and could help the town understand what's going on in ways that is otherwise they'd have to pay for or task somebody for doing. But without that data, I can't do the work. So the reason for the committee, the reason for here is that there are other forms of communication and there are ways of empowering people who are not part of the town. And if the town can find a way of making a variety of data that the townspeople have already paid for, and is essentially, it's a free, it's not like the town's hiding it, but making that available, then there are more opportunities for volunteers to do work to benefit the town. Did I say that diplomatically enough?
I think so.
Okay. I really mean it to be diplomatic.
Well, I mean, I think we can all be diplomatic, but I also think that there are like just realities about what everybody can do. And so I think one of the things that I'm really interested in is understanding like what are the gaps, what are the things that we can do to work together without unrealistic expectations where everybody's just gonna get frustrated. Because I think that's where we get in trouble, where everybody wants good information, everybody wants good data, and there's just some of the systems and the staffing for departments is set up in a way that you're never gonna get what you want. And you're gonna be frustrated, and we're gonna be frustrated, and it's gonna be like,
I very much agree, and I have been patient, and I will continue to be patient. And if the answer from the assessor's office is, we really don't have that data in that form, then I'll move on.
I think that's the answer. But I also think like, if the way that we've collected data, and this is a problem from the top down of this state, is like we are not set up to track success. We are not set up to collectively aggregate stuff. We are not set up we do not have the funding from anybody to do any of these things. And so it's hard to then, because I agree with you. I think we should be able to provide this information. And then there is no way to set it up in this moment, in this way that you're asking for.
I agree with you. I still not certain the data is not available, but I will not be surprised if it's not.
Right.
And so one of the things that I expressed in the housing committee meeting is the data I'm looking for may not be available, but is there some way we can start collecting that data so that it's available in the future?
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that, and Melissa brought up GIS and not me. The reason why GIS is particularly interesting is that they deal in structured data, and they have all sorts of what are called layers that represent different parts of what town infrastructure looks like. And Melissa didn't want me just walking in the GIS person's office and saying, hey,
Mm-hmm.
she said, I will introduce you to the person. So if somebody, and I promise to be very respectful of whoever that GIS person is, my ask is, can I get an introduction to that person?
I mean, I don't want to go tell Melissa, like, I don't want to,
I know.
it's,
But how do I, as a citizen who is really actively trying to help all of us understand what our housing stock looks like, get access to that data without pissing somebody off? Or do I just keep waiting?
David, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay. And I'm gonna say something and it's not what I'm going to do, it's just, I can file a FOIA. But then it becomes public and then it becomes an issue, and I don't wanna do that. But I am getting frustrated, and it may not be a simple email introducing me to the GIS person, I don't know. So,
But what I'm curious about is like the report that is like given to the select board about the evaluation has like the percentages of like mobile homes to
Exactly.
this and that and all that. So where does that all come from? Like they have software that does it all, and maybe it's just town staff don't have access to it.
Well, and I think all of these are good questions. And again, it goes back to like, to voting, to all of these things where other states have really strong county-wide systems.
Yep.
And we are so disaggregated because,
I-
and it's like, we're, in order to play catch up on all of these things, I think more about the systems, and I totally understand why you're really frustrated with the data that is available right now. And it could be that the data, so it's like, we're all getting mad at the wrong place where we should get mad at like, why aren't we getting better, more support from the state to actually solve these problems, which are to look at our housing inventory as a community, because it doesn't so much matter Exeter specific, it matters about the region and like, why don't we have any of this analysis? Why aren't we doing anything as policymakers?
So I agree with you, and my way of addressing that is by setting up this app. And I've shown it to people from other towns, and they're like, please add my town to it. And I will make it available, and then my goal is to go to the state legislature and say, hey, well, this is what I do, but I need to work my way up. And even if Exeter can't provide me the data, that still gives me pros to go make an argument to the state legislature.
Totally.
But David,
I mean,
maybe that's where you should start,
Where?
the state legislature.
No. So here's why. First of all, I need to understand whether the systems work or not. Is it, before I go to the state legislature and say, don't have access to the data, and have somebody say, oh, you didn't ask this person, I need to ask a person. I need to go work through what's available and be able to clearly document, here's all the things I tried, here's what worked, here's what didn't work, here's what I can do with real estate data, all that. Here's the demand for this data, and then I can go make a case to the state legislature.
What's the end goal here?
My end goal is to understand what the local housing stock is, so we can make good decisions about zoning, planning, economic development, all those things.
But what's the gap in the current available information about assessments and everything else?
Well,
What don't we know based on that data?
Basically, you just have to go like house by house. There's no like dashboards or anything that have like
I don't,
breakdowns and all that. You get a report when the reevaluation comes out every 5 years.
and there's another data problem here, which I found out recently. My assessment's way off. It's hugely wrong. There are glaring errors in it. So I'm gonna get it fixed, but you only have 1 year to correct it. So I've got 10 years of bad data. I've been paying too much taxes for 10 years.
well, that's also a state legislature,
I get it. It's an RSA problem.
right?
No, this is part of my educational process, and this is why I don't want to go to the state legislature until I understand where the problems really are. And when I write this up, I say very clearly, and I did a Facebook post about this very issue. I said, this is not a town of Exeter problem. This is a state problem. But I need to go. I've testified in federal court before, in state court, things like that. If I'm going to go to the state legislature, I want to go there with a rock solid case where people can say you didn't do something. So my end goal is that, but I got to start somewhere, and I'm starting here. There is a dashboard. I wrote it, by the way, and that's why I wanted you to come to the housing committee meeting the other day. It's using MLS data, but I still have a better idea than maybe anybody else in town, how many apartments we have, how many multifamily dwellings, how many condos, stuff like that. And the other thing I'm finding is that I really want to compare what I've got to the assessor data and see whether there are discrepancies there. I do have a trend in terms of how many condos have been built over the last couple of years. I can do that sort of stuff, but the better the data is, the better the analysis is, the better informed our conversations are. And there are other people, there are a lot of geeks in this town. There are a lot of people who,
Never have too many geeks.
unless they're going the wrong direction. But there are people that are interested in helping me do this. And so I'm building my own working group that is not, so the housing committee said, we want you to be on it. I said, I don't want to be on the housing committee because I want to be able to say things about housing without representing the town.
Is Lindsay still the
Yes.
chair of the housing committee?
Yep.
Lindsay used to be on our committee.
Okay, I know Lindsay pretty well by now.
We miss Lindsay,
She's doing good work where she is.
yes.
So, and
She left us to do that full time.
she was, yeah. So it's just, I'm not upset with anybody. At some point, I need to do something. I'll figure it out.
I haven't made the connection to the communications aspect of this yet, David, I have to say.
Data's a form of communication.
Yes.
If I ask for
But
a,
what can we do about it in this committee?
I mean, just what I was gonna say, maybe it answers that a little bit. Is like my thought on this is not specific to that example, but just whenever the town has data, making it either more available or more easily digestible. There's a type of chart that I wish I knew the name of it, but rather than like Excel sheets and stuff, like visualizing the data in unique ways and using graphics and
Well, like that
so that's what
analytics
I
was a
didn't-
good example.
yeah.
that's why I wanted you to come. So
Yeah.
I'm not using spreadsheets. I'm using various forms of visualizing the housing data because different types of data resonate with other.
Yeah.
An example, and so to apply having access to data for conversations about parking, walking, bicycling versus automobiles, there's a great graphic somewhere where somebody took a satellite view image of their town and they color coded everything that was parking or streets, and then they color coded everything that was pedestrian and everything that was bicycle oriented. And you start seeing gaps in the bicycle routes. You start seeing gaps in the pedestrian routes. And you see this enormous amount of blue, which is space dedicated to automobiles. So if you're trying to have a walkable town, that sort of visuals like, oh, wait a second, this is my town and here are the gaps, is really powerful. And so to Bob's point, the ask of the communication committee, if you would like me to make a formal ask, is to start having conversations with the town. So looking forward, we are collecting, preserving, and then sharing the data in a way that can be digested by both the town and the public for understanding what's going on in town.
Okay. You know, I've been having a lot of conversations lately with people about real estate in the town. And people have, it just occurred to me that people have varied interest in this, like
Very.
property owners care about the cost, right, of their taxes. People who want to live here care about the cost of living here, whether it's renting, which is what I do, or potentially buying, which is what a lot of young people want to do. So the way that you're packaging or gathering or presenting the information about real estate and real estate availability is going to be addressing the needs of different interest groups. For example, I have friends who live in Boston right now who are interested in moving here. And they were shocked when they looked at the real estate and said, there's no way we can afford to move to Exeter from Boston, where they own a house in Boston. They can't afford to move to Exeter because the house they want to sell in Boston is going to finance their retirement. And if they sell their house in Boston and buy a house in Exeter, they're going to put all the money into the real estate and not have any left for their retirement, right? So they have a different interest in getting information about real estate than someone who is already living here and cares about walkability or bike riding or whatever. So when you talk about gathering information about real estate and presenting it, I'm thinking different people have different interests.
So my goal is to make the information available to as many different people in the form that they want it.
But I'm also wondering, what is our priority as a communications committee in presenting that kind of information right now? I mean, I don't know.
I think just making sure the residents have any chance, and kind of what my mission as a staff, I would say, is to make sure that residents understand or know what's going on and understand it to the best of the town's ability. So.
Right.
So.
And what's the town's priority?
Well.
Yeah.
So I am trying to help offload from the town. I am trying to be a partner to the town as a citizen to help get the information about town housing out to people in as accurate a manner as possible so as to further the interests of the town, whatever those interests and priorities may be.
That's what I'm thinking. What is the interest and what's the town's priority and what policy does this promote?
And that's hard when you're also saying, I'm gonna FOIA them.
Right.
Like that is
But that's why I didn't FOIA them.
Sure.
No, so I tend to be very direct about about options. If I was gonna.
It's okay, David, go ahead, take a deep breath. I get what you're saying.
If I was wanted to FOIA things, I wouldn't be on the committees I'm on.
Right.
I have demonstrated now 3 years of trying to be part of the town to go address a huge variety of problems.
I mean, here's the thing, like, I am with you, and I've also been in this position and been frustrated for 8 years, and I also see, like, this work just moves so slowly. It is intolerable, and that's how it's designed.
It is designed that way.
And
So I, as a citizen rather than as a town, whatever, I can move much, much faster, and that's what I said to the housing committee. It's like, and that's why I said I don't want to be on the housing committees, because I can do this so much faster.
Yeah, you wanna prod it, I get it.
So one of my concerns for housing in the town of Exeter is that we're running out of buildable land. If we just keep letting things go as they are, we will be out of land that can be used for anything. And it's not like we can say, oh, let's go tear down these condos and put up something more efficient. It's like, whatever
New Hampshire.
condos get built, whether they're ugly, efficient, whatever, that's gonna stay. So if we don't move at some sort of speed, all sorts of things are potentially gonna happen. We'll run out of usable land. People that wanna move here from Boston, who would be phenomenal people, choose not to move here. The people that want to raise kids here find other communities, and now we have a decreasing enrollment in our school. There's all these things, and time is not our friend.
Interesting.
it is interesting, and I hear your frustration. It is very frustrating. I have to go in 6 minutes.
In 6 minutes.
I have a question.
Yes. I was gonna ask you to wait in.
Looking at the development that's going on in the town, I'm blown away by the type of construction that's going on and buildings taken down. What's the genesis of some of that? Where is that coming from? Is it because of somebody that we've brought in as a development specialist? Is it the lack of oversight of the planning and zoning board? What is it? Where did this?
Probably changes
It's
in zoning rules. The town voted in the MUND like a few years ago, and a lot of these projects, if you listen, are MUND
Not a lot of them,
projects.
some of them.
Some of them. A lot of the ones on Portsmouth Ave.
You're saying a word that I'm not familiar with.
So mixed use development, mixed use neighborhood development.
Okay,
something
So
all right.
the answer is very complicated.
Yeah.
The answer is what?
Very complicated.
Oh,
So the demand is, there are developers who want to make money. And they see an opportunity, either they already own land, or they know somebody will sell them land or whatever, or VIO or whatever. And they say, okay, if I put in this type of housing, I can get this return on my investment. The limitations, the things that allow us to control who builds what where, come out of planning and zoning. And really, they start with zoning. So the planning department generally has a very narrow ability to say go, no go on some sort of development. If it's zoned correctly, if the application for whatever they want to build fits within the zoning restrictions and the historic district, whatever, they can't say no, you can't build this. They have to say yes. So people get bent out of shape at the planning department, including me, until I started learning some of this sort of stuff. So it comes back down to, how did we zone these various areas? The MUND, which is mostly Portsmouth Avenue, honestly is doing what it should do, is creating opportunity for more dense housing on Portsmouth Avenue, which eventually may be walkable. It's technically walkable, but the challenge is. But the answer is, you've got competing interests between people who want to make money off the assets, land, buildings,
Right.
and the regulatory process, which is the zoning process, which moves very, very slowly. So
Just like everything.
like everything else. Somebody took down a tree on their private property up here on Front Street. So they knocked down this old house and they're putting in condos.
Which is much more upsetting to people.
Everybody got bent out, not everybody, people got bent out of shape about this huge old tree going down. It's on private property. You can't do anything about that. We can't do anything about
sure.
it.
Yeah.
But the changes in town are what's much more violent to people, like across the street, things like that,
That we have more say over, maybe.
maybe that happens.
But this also goes to the master plan and walkable streets, or whatever it's called. And
Yeah.
it also goes into, we have a parking study that needs to, there are all sorts of things.
It's hard for those of us who've been here for decades to see all the changes and
I
the
know.
trees going down. It's difficult.
It is.
Well, it's also.
Worse in Hampton.
It's also an issue of turnover. I mean, we've probably had some real old timers on these various planning and zoning boards that they're no longer there. They don't have that.
But it also doesn't, I mean, that's the piece to David's point, like, you can't deny something if it fits within
What's
what
been approved
what
by
has
the
been
voters.
approved.
Exactly.
And it is, I mean, it is a crisis for the whole state, how each individual community has been zoned for, you know, which is why you see the 55 plus communities popping up, which is why you see like these, you know, there are not opportunities to have smart development that is economical, that is, there was somebody who said something about you don't want to talk about affordable housing, you want to talk about housing affordability. Like, it doesn't engender housing affordability for this community. It's like you can make $1 million condos or 55 plus housing, and there's very little other
And
opportunity
it's
because
not
of the
unique,
setbacks.
it's not unique to New Hampshire or Exeter, it's
It is
happening
not.
all over
It
the
is
country,
happening
all over
everywhere.
the world.
Right.
But it's happening, this is where we live.
Right.
So think globally, act locally. This is where we can act. There are things we can do within the constraints of time and all these other things. And to bang it back to the communication committee, the more that we collectively as a community, town, staff, volunteers, elected officials, everything can communicate and share our concerns and sort of elevate, oh, wait a second, other people care about this thing, then we can make a difference. But we've got to move at speed. Thank you
Okay,
for
well,
coming.
I'm getting
No,
signaling from
seriously,
Molly that
absolutely.
Molly
I
is our
do-
timekeeper.
Do you need to go?
Just 1 minute, please. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 8th,
Let me make sure that's on my calendar.
right?
If it is on my calendar in enough time, I
Then
will
you're
protect
protected.
it.
8:30 in
Then
the
it is
morning. Okay, everybody got that?
It is already on.
And do I have a motion to adjourn?
I so, oh, you've got.
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned.